sometimes you can be doing the wrong thing with your debt. You could be taking an approach with your debt that might see and feel like the right thing to do. However, from an outsider's perspective, you could be debt-free a lot sooner than you think. Hi guys, gals, and non-binary pals, welcome to Budget with Ira. My name is Ira, and on this channel we talk about budgeting, paying down debt, and saving up for the life that you truly deserve. If that sounds like something you like to watch, please consider subscribing to the channel because we do have a lot of fun over here, Bestie. We really do. In today's video, we're going to be continuing the series of mine called Budget Bestie. Budget Bestie is a series where people anonymously submit their budgets to me. I take a look at them and see what I might do if I was in their situation. This is not financial advice. However, I can be pretty useful by showing an outsider's perspective. The real knowledge comes from the comment section, so make sure your voice is heard. Let me know what you think and what you might do as well, because we've all got different opinions, Bestie. So this one's a quite interesting one, and something that you might find is actually an okay budget, but when you start poking and prodding, you can do quite a lot. There's quite a lot of flexibility, Bestie. So should we get into it? Okay, so I've got my trusty notes here, and the first thing we need to look at is what is your main financial goal, and for this person it is to clear debt. So that's the approach that we're going to be taking in today's video. So they say, me and my boyfriend currently have a deposit saved for a house. However, as we are paying off debt, we are physically unable to cover mortgage bills and monthly payments at the moment. So at the moment, because their debt's in the way, even though they've got money for a home or enough money to get a home, because of their debt, they wouldn't be able to afford the home once they have it, which makes total sense. So the thing I want to sort of highlight is the debt section here, because it kind of seems like they got their stuff together. But the debt section here says they owe $1,400 to Lloyd's credit card. The minimum is $35, but they're paying £100 a month. And then they've got an interest-free credit card where they owe like £1,700. The minimum is $25, but they pay $125. And the last there is a loan from their dad, which is interest-free, obviously, $450 owed, and they're paying £50 a month. So I think there's a lot of wiggle room in there. So that's probably where we're going to really sink our teeth into in terms of this. So the thing that makes this budget quite interesting is that they don't like pay rent. They pay like £100 board. I think they're living with parents or living with their boyfriend or something like that. They don't pay a lot, so they're able to do a lot more with their money. So that's a really, really good thing. So we've got tons and tons of wiggle room here. But this is a real situation for a lot of people. They kind of put their life on hold quite a bit, where they're sort of living in a not ideal situation, and it's just very, very hard to get out of that situation where they've got a little bit of debt, because once that debt is gone, they can follow their dreams and make get a house basically. So I think it deserves taking a look at, because we've got some little clever things that we can do with this. So let's get budgeting, Bestie. Okay, let's start out, Bestie. So what we've got here is we've got my paycheck bill tracker. This is a little tear off sheet. Beautiful thing for if you're just starting with budgeting to get cracking, make loads of mistakes and start off again. We're going to be using this one because there aren't a lot of bills and stuff going on, so we can really, really dial into the budget for this one. So let's get cracking. Okay, so let's start with income. So the first thing about the income is that this person listed their income as from $1,500 to $1,800. So what I think is probably the wisest thing to do is to do their income as $1,500, because if they get that extra $300 or pounds or yen or whatever it is, they can use that towards their goal. So let's budget for $1,500 and see what we can do. So starting off with their bills, they have board, which is basically their rent and utilities and all of that, and they only do 100, which is a nice number. Then they have Wi-Fi, which is probably what they contribute to the household. That's 27. And then they contribute groceries. So this isn't like the whole groceries bill for their household. They contribute 80 towards it, which I think is pretty reasonable. Then they have their phone bill, which is just theirs. So let's put phone bill in, and the phone bill is 60. So yeah, so far that's all their bills, so not bad at all. Comes up to 267, which leaves them with 1,233 on the low end. In terms of spending, they do go ahead and give themselves £30 a week. So on a 4-week month, it's 120. So, and that's like the total for their envelopes as well. So 1113. So we are smashing through it already. Let's have a look at their sinking funds. So they say they have a car account. So I assume their car is like bought and paid for because there's no sort of bills. There's also no fuel here, but what they say goes into this. So that's for services, MOT, and also their like fuel. So they put £160 into it every single month, and they use their fuel out of it, and what's left over will roll over, which I think is quite a good idea. I don't think I'd like it because I wouldn't sort of have control over, I wouldn't feel like I had control over it. So I wouldn't do it that way, but whatever works for whatever. And then they have a holiday sinking fund, which they like to put 100 into every single month. Then they have a joint pot with their partner. So with this, they do £50 each per month, and then they sort of do their treats out of it, which I think is really, really nice. Then they have a joint one again. So it's Christmas and birthdays, yeah. So they put £35 into that every single month. And then they have Help to Buy. So this is like basically a LISA. So it's a Help to Buy LISA. They do 200 a month with that. And basically what that is they can put as much money into that as they want, up to £4,000 a year. And then the government will put an extra 25% interest on that at the end of the year, as long as they're using it for their first home, which is really, really good. That's what I'm doing. And then they have their emergency fund. So emergency, and they do 200 into that every single month. So in terms of their sinking funds, that comes up to 745, which leaves them with 368. So let's look at debt, which is the next one. So first of all, they have a Lloyd's credit card, and the minimum on that is 35, but what they actually do is put 100 towards that each month. I mean, this sounds good, but let me talk you through it once we've got to the end of it, yeah? So then they have a Virgin credit card, so Virgin, and the minimum on that is £25, but they do £125, and then they owe some money to their dad, which is like that, you know, there's zero interest and there's no like agreement on it, but they do £50. So what that ends up being is £275, and that leaves them with £93 for the month to do like other stuff. So they've got a buffer here of £93, and we're sort of not really looking at savings because it's going into there. So there's sort of scope to do stuff, and I will talk you through what I would do. So I'm not going to use a red pen. What I'm going to use today is a pink pen, Bestie. It's kind of like a pinky purple. I just thought it matched my nails really nicely, so I thought, why not, Bestie? So we're still going to go on the assumption that it's £1,500, and what I'm not going to do is I'm not actually going to do anything with the bills either. However, I will say that now that I know that you're a UK person, this is just too high for a phone bill. I would be looking at definitely trying to downgrade as soon as possible. £60 is just too much for a phone, right? So let's still keep that at 267 for now, which would be 1233. And in terms of your spending, I actually think that's really reasonable. I really do. That's how much I would give myself as well. So yeah, there's that. So in terms of the car account, because I don't know how much fuel you use and all of that stuff, I'm just going to say leave that as it is. I think, you know, whatever it is, it seems to be working for you. So I'd say leave that as it is because it seems to be working for you. What I will do is I would say change your holiday from 100 a month to 50 a month. So at the moment, you're saving enough to put away £1,200 in a year. And if you're going with your partner and they're doing the same, that's £2,400 for holidays. And if you're really, really serious about clearing down your debt, I don't think you should be speaking, or at least I wouldn't be taking as expensive holidays as that. So by cutting it down in half, you're saving £600 a year. And if your partner's doing the same, that's 1,200. That's more than enough for even a luxury holiday. So that's where I would be, and I'd take some saving there. Joint putt seems really reasonable. Christmas and birthday, if that works for you, reasonable. I would probably budget more, but you know, if that's working, it's absolutely fine. Now, here's the big difference that I would make, right? I know it's counterintuitive. I know that you want to buy a house, but your primary objective in this budget is to clear your debt. So I would change this. Now, the minimum you can put in your Help to Buy ISA per month is £1, and I would just take it down to £5. Now, there's a reason why, and it's because I would be focusing as much money onto my debt as possible, and I'll tell you why afterwards, because it'll all make sense afterwards, right? And then in terms of emergency fund, I would drop that down to 100 because you'll still get there. Your outgoings are very, very minimal, so you don't need necessarily to do that. If you look, your sort of minimums come up to, I mean, like £400. So you'd have enough for a couple of months worth of emergency very, very quickly. So I take that down to 100. Yeah. So what that now brings your sinking funds down to is 500, which leaves you with 613. Yeah. It gives you much more maneuverability. Yeah. So what I would now do is pretty much change the way that you're paying off debt, because at the moment you're overpaying in two categories, and yes, you'll be quick overall, but you won't be quite as quick as the plan that I will lay out for you. So what I would start doing is I would pay minimum. So I'd do 35 to Lloyd's, 25 to Virgin, and 0 to Dad. And I'm sure Dad would be understanding if you told him about your plan, yeah? Then I'd also plan in an overpayment. So overpayment, I would plan in £540 for now, yeah? So with those all together, that would come up to £600. It gives you £13 as a buffer. However, we both know that you're going to be earning more than that most months. So I feel safe giving you a £13 buffer. But what I want to do now is explain to you why I've cut this down and why I've done this to your debt. So let's get going with the debt plan. So let's list your debts in terms of the Snowball, but I'm doing the Snowball out of order. So let me explain why. So first we've got Lloyd's, and what you owe on Lloyd's is £1,400, and that is the one that has interest on it. The Virgin one is interest free, and so is Dad. So I would tackle this one first to try and not pay as much interest on it. Yeah, your minimum is £35 there, and then I'd go for the Virgin after that. So that would be normally the one that's like naturally the first one, like the one after in terms of debt Snowball. What you owe is 1,659, and your minimum is 25 for that. And then what I'd pay off last is Dad, because Dad can probably wait. All you owe on that is 415. Now, if it was a true debt Snowball, you'd put it there, but like Dad debt doesn't really count, if that makes sense. As long as you've got like a good relationship with him, and if he's willing to lend you money, then you probably do have a great relationship with him. But I would probably do the Dad debt last, because the minimum on that is 0, right? So this is what I would do, yeah? So you've got your 35 as your minimum, and then as we've said back in the budget on the back of this page, your debt Snowball or your overpayment is going to be £540. So what that does is that leaves you with £575 as your first Snowball. So if you chuck that at this debt, you'll have it gone with 3 months, and you'd also have £325 as change, yeah? So when you move this 575 down into this £25, you're actually got a Snowball then of the full 600. So you're already at your full 600. So when you add £325 into the first month, you're actually clearing that in 3 months. So your debt's gone in 3 months. And then you can then move your £600 into Dad, and then you'll just pay him off immediately in the 7th month. So this is a debt-free oh, the pen's running out, debt-free in 7 months. And I'm sure if you said to your dad, this will be my plan, if I can pay you in 6 months the full 450, I'm sure he would understand. And even if you got that overtime, it would work out. Now, if you paid your debt off the way you're paying it off, you are going to incur more interest because of this Lloyd's. So if you're only overpaying this one by sort of £75, £85, no, £65 every single month, you're going to be accruing interest. But by clearing this debt in 3 months, you are accruing nominal interest, or nominal compared to what you would be, and you're going to pay off debt much faster. I know it feels better to sort of chuck as much as you can at as many debts as possible, but truly the debt snowball method definitely works a lot better. But let me talk to you about what I would do after this debt is gone. So let's talk about that. So once this debt is gone, that then frees up £600, right? So you're paying off your debt tons quicker, and then as soon as you can do £600, you would then think about moving it into your Help to Buy. So let's really talk about this. So let's say Help to Buy. So if you stuck with your debt repayment plan, it would take you longer, but if you stuck with that, then you'd still only have £200 to go into your Help to Buy. And what that would mean is that after a year, you'd have £200 times 12, which is 2,400, yeah? So 2,400, and then with the 25% interest, that would end up being £3,000 you'd end up in there. So you get an extra 600 quid based off of what you've put in. Now, in the new world, where you are then able to go straight in and do £600 a month, times that by 12, you're going to have 7,200. So what that means is by putting in £4,000, that's going to turn into £5,000, and then you'll have 3,200 change, which then becomes 8,200. So by delaying your sort of Help to Buy and by paying off your debt first, you're able to make much bigger differences. Granted, it's 6 months later, but the difference you're able to make in terms of like getting your home quicker is by getting rid of this debt quicker. Now, let's say for instance, you stick with this plan here and you stick to the £5 to Help to Buy. However, in the next 6 months, you end up getting paid £300 more than the 1,500. So, guys, as you remember, it's 1,500 to 1,800. 300 times 6 is 1,800. That's a big chunk to go into Help to Buy, and then you start at 600. So it's just about sort of realigning and refocusing. So yes, Bestie, this is what I would be doing in this scenario and this situation. It is just about sort of delaying, because like really looking at it, you're in a really good position to be able to make these differences in your life. It kind of looks like you're sort of spreading yourself thin. Let me put this to this and this to that. But if you dial in, focus, eliminate, dial in, focus, eliminate, then you're left with all the fun things and you're able to start planning for your home and do all of that. So yeah, I think you've got great sort of structure in place. I would really sort of tamper down those holidays, because if you're in a situation with debt, I wouldn't do that. And also £100 a month to holiday is quite excessive, let me be honest. But yeah, that's sort of where I would be at. I think that's a reasonable place to do, and I'd love to know what you think about that in the comments down below, besties. Hi guys, gals, non-binary pals, thank you so much for getting through to the end of the video. You know I love it when you get through to the end of the video. Please give this video some love. Make sure you like, comment, share and subscribe. And if you are going to comment, please use this emoji. Now, what did you think of today's budget? On the face of it, it seems like a silly thing to do to stop paying into your Help to Buy, because obviously you want to get a home. But if the only thing stopping you from getting a home is that debt, why are we not focusing on that? And why are we not having a bit more of a strategic approach to it? Because I truly believe that if you follow the plan I had, you are going to end up paying significantly less interest and pay it off quicker. So it seems reasonable. Again, thank you for being here and watching this video, and thank you for everybody who comments and says, actually no, Ira, I think what you're saying is absolute rubbish, what I would do is this. I love those. I love those because it's like, oh yeah, that is another good way. Like, there's so many different ways to skin a cat, and I love that about budgeting. An extra special thank you to the patrons and the channel members who support me so much. It just means the world to me. Patrons get exclusive content, sneak peeks to new collections, and significant discounts on my Etsy store. So if you would like to join them and support me over on Patreon, please take a look at the link in description. You will not regret it, bestie. That's all we have for this week's Budget Bestie, and I have seen next week's Budget Bestie, and it is a bop and it is a banger too. So make sure you stick around for that. Until the next one, bestie, I would like you to have a wonderful day, have a wonderful week, and have a wonderful budget. Always remember, don't trust Ira. And bestie, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.